Welcome back to Newsmakers. We are with Ali Jones, Roger Sutton and Duncan Webb. A raft of changes have been floated for ACC, changes that would revolutionise ACC to the point where it would actually treat you like an individual. Imagine that. For example, should your ACC levies be set based on your accident record and your driving record when it comes to the enormous amount of ACC that's loaded on the vehicle licence fee? What do we think of this, Roger?
I think I'm fine with it. In fact, I'd go further. I'd actually get rid of the vehicle registration because we have a warrant of fitness system. I'd force people to re-licence themselves each year. So you pay the registration fee on your licence. So in that way, you really would make that much more tailored to whether you're a good driver, a bad driver, or whatever. I guess the only issue would be is some people would probably have to pay an annual driver re-licensing fee in the thousands of dollars.
And if they don't pay it?
Well, they become an unlicensed driver, and you're back to that sort of an issue. You know, that issue exists already. So, look, it's a theoretical, but, that whole thing, I'd make it much more driver-specific, and I'm cool with that.
Sure. Now, Duncan, I expect you to fly the red flag here. But before you do...
don't...
Is there a need for a skerrick of personal responsibility to come into ACC's equation?
Look, I think, you might have me entirely wrong. I think personal responsibility is really important. And I think there is some merit in the idea that your levies are linked to how good you are. I guess the only real concern I have is the slippery slope problem. That, in fact, are we going to test whether I'm a good rugby player? Or if I play rugby, should I pay more in ACC levies somewhere? And all those kinds of things. Because there's a real line here between...
You don't pay more in your ACC if you are a rugby. That'd be a good start, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I thought you might go down that line. Or skiers. That was the other thing. But I was a bit reluctant as a lefty to say that I actually could ski. but I mean, there's a line to be drawn between welfare and between insurance, and ACC is actually welfare. It's actually a safety net. You can take out all kinds of insurances as well, and I just want to make sure we keep it as a welfare, as a universal system that doesn't depend upon any kind of income or personal ability to pay.
Look, I never thought I would, but I agree with you, and I think that the principle with ACC is being that safety net and applying to everyone. As soon as you start individualising it, you're moving away from the whole premise behind ACC. I actually think ACC needs to be totally deconstructed and needs to be looked at. It is out of control. We cannot afford it. We've got people running it who have got no idea what they're doing. They don't know what the rules are. There's some very good people, don't get me wrong, but it has definitely got out of control, so I think it needs to be looked at completely.
So you make it more generous or less generous then, Ali, as a
No, I think there are anomalies, and I think there are issues with people not understanding how the system works, basic issues that they need to look at.
But overall, more or less generous?
No, Ali, no, it's about right. It's just where the money's going and how it's being spent.
I do. I also think people should, if they can afford it, take out their own private health insurance. Like superannuation, for example. Superannuation
Duncan's terrified now.
Well, superannuation shouldn't even be a part of the welfare system, which is what it is.
No.
It should be income tested, and if you don't need to get superannuation, you shouldn't be getting it. Absolutely.
It's hard for a socialist to disagree with each according to their needs.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll move on to the very gentle issue of US-New Zealand military relations. The Defence Minister has confirmed that more joint exercises are likely between our troops, but he says US ship visits are, quote, a clear no-go area. Why? I mean, 95% of the US Navy fleet is nuclear-free. It's only the aircraft carriers that are nuclear-powered. The subs carry the weapons. Well, the subs aren't going to come here. The aircraft carriers couldn't come here because we haven't got a port big enough. So what's the problem? Why don't we just roll out the welcome mat?
Great posturing, isn't it? It's because they won't tell. We all know, but they won't tell.
But I got this off the Pentagon website.
Oh yeah, but if you ask, is that canoe nuclear equipped? They'll say, I'm sorry, that's classified.
I think the whole, our ships coming or not coming is sort of a smokescreen. For New Zealand security, surely the thing that's most important is we share each other's intelligence information these days. I'm not sure there is actually a threat that we need a warship for at the moment. I think the threat is actually the terrorism threat, and that way, the way you protect yourself from that is that sharing, our intelligence between different countries, and the way the Americans and the British supposedly didn't want us before the Rainbow Warrior got bombed. So I think that's a much more important thing for New Zealand security, but it's just not the big fancy, are there warships coming into town?
But from a strategic perspective as well, and don't get me wrong, I don't profess to know a huge amount about strategic and policy in the Pacific, but I understand that the Chinese are growing in their influence through the Pacific as well. With some
but that's clearly something we can offer the rest of the Western world, the fact we can get close to the Pacific and we can be the friends of the Pacific Islands islands rather than people whose perhaps...
What, with our one helicopter in our canoe?
Well, I think being friends of the Pacific isn't about helicopters and canoes and warships. I think it's about working with these Pacific nations in a constructive way so they don't become banana republics.
But that's not going to help us, though, when the Chinese do come and if they do bring military might through there. I'm not saying they will, but isn't that why we have to shore up these relationships with countries like America now?
See, I find it weird that we've actually had Chinese warships visit New Zealand, you know, in a benign way, yet we won't let Uncle Sam in. That's just weird.
Well, I think, no, we will let Uncle Sam in. Uncle Sam chooses not to come because of our questioning
But
process,
Hillary
so.
said it's a question for New Zealand.
Do we know if the Chinese ships are nuclear-powered or contain nuclear?
Well, I think it just comes down to the fact that New Zealand law says, you know,
Yes.
if you're carrying nuclear weapons, you're not allowed in. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And
So we
then-
suspect they aren't.
Yeah.
But would you trust them? Maybe
No,
we
that
shouldn't
would
go
be
there.
That would be asked on entry.
Yeah, well,
And
yes,
they'd be
exactly.
able
They'd
to
have to
do
fill in a customs.
There's going to be a customs call. Yeah, that's right. Are
Yeah.
you carrying any nuclear weapons?
Last time I
Drag
sailed
this
into
right.
Did you pack your own ship?
Very good. Well done, Ellie. By the way,
only
Hillary
explosive
Clinton,
thing is a witch.
should Hillary have another tilt at the presidency? Yes or no?
No, I think it's past Hillary's time. I think she's doing a great job as an international diplomat. I think life for the US president is bloody difficult. The way every 2 years they have one of these elections. The poor guy can't really get out there and do anything without being undermined by another election.
Oh, he was all hype and hot here, wasn't he? Come on.
No, I think he's trying to do some genuinely brave things.
I
there,
think
which
they
is
need
good.
I think they need a woman running the country. I absolutely think
Sarah
it's
Palin.
time.
Sarah
Oh my
I
God.
think Hillary actually did get to run the country for a decade.
there is
if
that
you
as
look
well.
at that.
And she did a very fine job too.
Did
Yeah,
anyone
that's right.
read the Martin Van Beynen piece
Yes.
about how sexy Hillary
He's in
is?
love with her.
Oh, that is so embarrassing. I
But
wanted
don't
to...
you think any powerful woman's just a bit sexy?
Yeah.
She's one of the most powerful women in the world, and you do not expect in a main publication like the Press to read about how her jewellery twinkled in the sunlight and how her... Oh, what was the piece? Hang on, I wrote it down. No, listen to this. Because she is not only a Secretary of State, she's a star. She looks strikingly like an older version of our own Hayley Westenra.
Now that was
Hallelujah.
For goodness sake.
all
No,
right.
but the idea that a man who's a leader of a state can be strong and sexy, but for some reason a woman shouldn't, that's
Yes.
outrageous.
Exactly.
Well, who could you think strong and sexy that's...
Other than Hillary and Margaret Thatcher.
No, I'm thinking men. Who do you think strong and sexy is a bloke running a country?
Oh, no, I think
We'll
I'll
come
just
back to
keep
that
my
on
own
the-
counsel on that one.
We'll come back to that on the next edition. I've got a very short slot of time here for plugs and pokes. Now, Duncan, I'll let you start because I know you want to plug a very good book. Very quickly.
PricewaterhouseCoopers have put together this little book, recipe book, Accounting for Taste. Proceeds going to the neonatal unit. The guy who was behind this, his child sadly died. Had a lot of assistance from the neonatal unit, so that's a good.
Yep.
pwc.com/NZ if you want a copy.
Lovely.
How much is it?
$20.
Yeah.
That's a bargain. 10 seconds, Ellie.
Okay, I'm sick of taking stuff back to shops.
Yes.
Okay, and also thumbs up to Catherine Dizelle and Ingrid Taylor at Taylor Shaw for doing their piece in the Press this week. And my new website goes live in about 10 days, www.alliejonespr.co.nz. Thank you, Plato.
alliejonespr.co.nz.
Yeah.
In case you didn't get it down. Roger, 10 seconds.
Peter Dunn and the whole speech debacle.
Lovely, wasn't it?
Although the positive for Lady Hillary, the fact she's not entering into this awful media debate about Ed's bits and pieces. I think that's so undignified, those children going to the media and talking about his father's bits and pieces. It's just awful.
Very good. Thank you very much. To the pick of the week, to this roadside billboard, which is a supersized dichotomy. On top, childhood obesity. Don't take it lightly. Directly below McDonald's, my kind of shopping spree. Don't you love the product placement? To the NewsMakers poll, this week's question, should the City Council take sole control of public transport in Christchurch? Yes or no? Vote on the web or via the email or the post, and you'll be in to win a $50 voucher from the MTA and also a Whitcool's gift card. Good luck. Thank you very much to our intrepid panel, Roger, Sutton, Ellie, Jones and Duncan Webb. Have a very fine show weekend. We'll catch up soon. Good night.